Black Lives Matter Plaza. That's where we met Donald Trump. Misks required beyond this point.
You love your father, the devil.
Has Colonel.
You don't love the spirit of justice. You love your father, the devil.
Donald back in Trump.
Thank you so much for having us. You're over here, Mr. President. Thank you. Okay.
You don't love the spirit of justice. You love your father, the devil.
Jesus, almost a year.
Okay.
Mr. President, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you taking the time,
Good.
and we appreciate your
You
commitment
don't
to
love
answer
the
our
spirit of
questions.
justice.
Really appreciate
You
that.
love your father, the devil.
Over the years, I've heard you talk about.
I just want to start off by saying that Trump clearly doesn't trust Jonathan Swan.
You don't
Maybe because
love
he's
the
been
spirit
hurt
of
already
justice.
by like
You
right-wing
love your
news, like
father,
Chris
the
Wallace
devil.
hurt him.
Hassle.
This lighting is not doing him any favors. I already mentioned this, but this is the worst contrast I've ever fucking seen. This is the worst.
You don't love the spirit of justice. You love your father.
Maybe he doesn't
the
trust
devil.
Jonathan Swan because he's Australian. In which case, that's perfectly acceptable. I don't either.
Your adherence to a philosophy called positive thinking. This is the mantra that if you believe something, if you visualize it, then it will happen.
To an extent, I also think in terms of the downside.
Right.
I do. I've been given a lot of credit for positive thinking, but I also think about downside because only a fool doesn't.
To what extent do you think that that positive thinking mindset is suitable to handling the worst pandemic that we've seen in a century?
I think you have to have a positive outlook. Otherwise, you would have nothing without a positive outlook. I think we've done an incredible job between the ventilators and stopping very infected people from China coming in, meaning putting the ban on China, which frankly nobody wanted me to do, practically nobody, because it was very early in January. Then putting the ban on Europe, not an easy thing to do. When you put a ban on Europe, that's a big thing. We would have probably lost hundreds of thousands of lives more had I not done that. And all of the experts, every one of them, not one of them wanted to do it. They thought it was too severe. 3 months later, they're all saying, I'm glad you did it.
The criticism of you that is most prominent is about the communication. It's the public health experts saying that it needs to be based in reality. And they're saying that the wishful thinking and the salesmanship is just not suitable at a time when a pandemic has killed 145,000 Americans. And it's that I understand what you're saying, that people need to hear positive thinking. But, you know, for the past 5 months, it's been the virus is totally under control and the cases have been going up and the deaths have been going up.
Look.
But you've been saying it's under control.
Nobody knew what this thing was all about. This has never happened before. 1917, but it was a totally different, it was a flu in that case, okay? But other than 1917, there's never been anything like this. And by the way, if you watch the fake news on television, they don't even talk about it. But you know, there are 188 other countries right now that are suffering, some proportionately far greater than we are, okay? As bad as we are.
Very few.
Some proportionately greater than we are. Right now, Spain is having a big spike. There are tremendous problems in the world. You look at Moscow, look at what's going on with Moscow. Look at Brazil, look at these countries, what's going on. This was sent to us by China, one way or the other. And we're never going to forget it. Believe me, we're never going to forget it. And we were beating China at every single point. We were beating them on trade. We were making progress like nobody's ever made progress. They had, before the pandemic, they had the worst year, Jonathan, that they've had in 67 years. You know that, with the tariffs and everything else I did. We were taking in billions of dollars. I was giving some of it to the farmers. The farmers were doing well because they were targeting the farmers. I was targeting China. We were doing good. Then all of a sudden the game changed and I had to close it down. I closed down the greatest economy ever in history.
It's pretty great that the argument is literally just like, at this point, his argument is literally like implying that China very specifically and deliberately sent this virus to the United States of America. And I say the USA rather than the rest of the world because, like, the rest of the world is dealing with it a lot better than we have. And therefore, I guess, like, the Chinese virus is somehow more impactful in America, too. So, very weird that, this is a special branch, the special version of the Chinese virus they sent here to America. And Brazil as well. I'm sure that there are no other factors that unify both of these countries in the way that they dealt with the pandemic, like having reactionary morons in charge who originally tried to deny the virus's existence and then did everything they could to minimize its impact when it came to communicating its impact to the general public.
Well, wait, and then I closed it down, and now we're opening it. And we saved, by the way, by closing it down, we saved millions of lives. If we would have gone to herd, and we knew very little about the disease, if we would have gone herd, we would have lost millions of people, millions of people. One person's too much. We're at 140,000 people. One person is too much. We're at 140. We would have lost millions of people. And those people that really understand it, they said it's incredible the job that we've done. And again, I bring it up.
Who says that?
The banning China from coming in.
But it was already in here by the time. It was already here. Like, by the time you banned China, it came in through Europe.
Nobody knew the extent. Nobody knew how contagious it was.
But the question is, Mr. President,
maybe China knew.
By June, we knew things were bad. And, the last time I was with you was the day before your Tulsa rally in the Oval. And, you were saying big, huge crowd. It was indoors.
By the way,
these people, they listen to you.
Excuse me, Jonathan.
Yeah.
We had a 19,000-seat stadium. First of all, we had 12,000 people, not 6,000, which you reported and other people reported. But you couldn't even get in. It was like an armed camp.
Why would you have wanted that?
Because they had 120 Black Lives Matter people.
You're missing the point, dog. You're missing the point. You killed Herman Cain, dude. He's saying, why would you do that?
Yeah, but why would you have wanted a huge crowd?
Excuse me, wait. And Tulsa, well, because that area was a very good area at the time. It was an area that was pretty much over after a month later, it started going up. That's a month later. But Tulsa was a very good. Oklahoma was doing very well as a state. It was almost free. It spiked a month later, month and a half, 2 months later, but it was a good area.
I wonder why it spiked. I mean, it's not singularly, like, Trump's rally in Tulsa was not singularly responsible because, luckily only 6,000 fucking people went there. But it's wild to assume that that would not have a significant impact when, like, 8 members of his Secret Service team got it. Like, people literally in his vicinity got it. A person that went there specifically so he could make a political point died. A person that ran for president, Herman Cain, literally fucking died just to make a political point.
We had a tremendous crowd. We had tremendous response. You couldn't even, it was like an armed camp. You couldn't even get through. You couldn't get anybody in.
But
we had 12,000 people. It was incorrectly reported. The other thing we had that nobody wants to talk about, so Fox broadcast it. It was the highest rating in the history of Fox television, Saturday night. It was the highest rating.
Mr. President.
My speech, well, wait a minute, you're saying something.
Yeah.
That speech was the highest rated speech in the history of Fox television on Saturday night. And nobody says that.
I think you misunderstand me. I'm criticizing your ability to draw a crowd. Are you
Well,
kidding me?
I'm
I've
just
covered you
saying
for 5
this.
years. You draw massive
I'm just
crowds, you
saying
get huge
this.
ratings. I'm asking about the
At
public
time,
health.
And I canceled another one. I had to cancel it.
Right.
We're going to have a great crowd in New Hampshire.
He's saying your ability to draw a crowd is the problem, you fucking idiot. He's literally saying that you can draw a crowd. It's not good that you drew a crowd in the middle of a fucking pandemic. And he's like, no, the crowd was actually bigger. It was actually bigger than you think. Oh, that's so good. Oh, this is
And
great.
I canceled it for the same
7
reason.
minutes
Here's the
in.
question. I've covered you for a long time. I've gone to your rallies. I've talked to your people. They love you. They listen to you. They listen to every word you say. They hang on your every word. They don't listen to me or the media or Fauci. They think we're fake news. They want to get their advice from you. And so when they hear you say everything's under control, don't worry about wearing masks, I mean, these are people, many of them are older people,
What's
Mr.
your
President.
definition of control? Yeah. Under the
It's giving them a false
circumstances
sense of
right
security.
now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean we aren't doing everything.
Devil.
Donald looking kind of nice
Fuck!
with it.
I'm sorry I keep pausing, but like, can you imagine Barack Obama saying that? Fuck, it's so hacky, but like, please, it is what it is. Like, Barack Obama saying it is what it is to 1,000 Americans dying every day because of a pandemic that he fucked up. Oh my fucking Lord, dude. This would be running on fucking repeat, dude. This would be running on repeat on Fox News forever. People would still be talking about it now. It'd be Hillary's butter emails. It'd be the new Benghazi cry. I wonder how much Republicans will talk about this line.
We can. It's under control as much as you can control it. This is a horrible plague that beset us.
You really think this is as much as we can control?
Well,
1,000
I'll tell
deaths
you,
a day?
I'd like to know if somebody, first of all, we have done a great job. We've gotten the governors everything they needed. They didn't do their job. Many of them didn't, and some of them did. Someday we'll sit down. We'll talk about the successful ones, the good ones. Look at that smile. The good ones and the bad. We had good and bad. And we had a lot in the middle. But we had some incredible governors. I could tell you right now who the great ones are and who the not so great ones are. But the governors do it. We gave them massive amounts of material.
Mr. President, you changed your message this week in terms of you cancelled the Jacksonville Convention. You said wear a mask. You're saying, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's not something you like to say. I know, and you said that. The big question...
Not get worse like the original flow. You understand that. But
Well, I hope
it will
not.
get
It's
worse.
1,000.
Now, if you look, Arizona's going down.
If I could just finish my question.
Texas is going down, and Florida's going down.
The question is, are you going to, even some of your own aides wonder whether you would stick to that message until election day, whether in a week or two you won't say, right, we've got to reopen again, we can't do this stuff anymore, that you'll get bored of talking about the virus and go back to that sort of cheerleading.
I never get bored of talking about this. It's too big a thing. And again,
So will you
it could
stick
have
to
been
that
stopped
message?
by China. It should have been stopped by China, and it wasn't.
But now it's here,
We
and
have
you're the
it
president.
here. And I think I'm
You're the
very
leader.
consistent. No, this is a very serious thing. Do you think we have 140,000 people at this moment?
More
This is
than
a
that.
very, very
Yeah.
serious situation. And what you have to do is handle it the best it can be handled. And again, I'm working with the governors. I got them tremendous amounts of equipment that they would have never gotten. Jonathan, they wouldn't have equipment now if I didn't get it.
When can you commit, by what?
Literal mafia boss shit, dude.
Pogger.
They might not even have ventilators. If it wasn't for me, I could stop it right now if I wanted to. Do you want ventilators or not? It's like, dude, it's your job. We're upset that you're not doing enough of your job, and you're threatening us with not even doing the little amount of job that you've done so far. What a psychotic fucking take.
Date that every American will have access to the same day testing that you get here in the White House?
Well, we have great testing. We're doing, and
By
many
what
other
date?
people do. Let me explain the testing. We have tested more people than any other country, than all of Europe put together times two. We have tested more people than anybody ever thought of. India has 1.4 billion people. They've done 11 million tests. We've done 55. It'll be close to 60 million tests. And, there are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
What? I've never heard that. What? You can test too much? What the fuck does that even mean? Wait, is that a real thing that people say? The only time where you would be over testing,
you love your father, the devil,
is if like
Hasan.
the current Korean levels of testing are similar to the United States. Or wait, sorry. Rather, the only metric of figuring out if you are testing too much is if I guess the positive coronavirus cases as a percentage of overall testing that you've done is lower than like 0.1%. That would be too much testing. And there are no countries, as far as I'm aware of, that have over-tested, because there are no countries that have that little percentage positive tests. Whereas America, on the other hand, by this metric is far behind plenty of other countries. One of the worst in the OECD comparable nations, obviously. So, you know, we're definitely not testing too much. The only way to comprehend whether we are testing too much or too little is by looking at the percentage of positive tests across all the people that we have tested for coronavirus. And we are currently around above 10%. We need to be under 5% to hit a comfortable spot where we are testing, you know, poorly, but at least enough.
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
What testing does?
I'm
is
sorry,
it shows, wait a minute,
who
John,
said-
let me explain. What testing does? It shows cases. It shows where there may be cases. Other countries test. You know when they test? They test when somebody's sick. That's when they test. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Nobody's done it like we've done it. We've gotten absolutely no credit for it.
If that was the case, then other countries would have a higher coronavirus positive percentage. When you look at other countries, they have a lower coronavirus positive percentage of all of the people that they test. Okay? You test 100 people and only one of them tests positive for coronavirus. That's a 1% positive rate. Countries like Canada, for every 100 people, have 3 people that have tested positive for coronavirus. Countries like America, for 100 people, have 10 to 11 people that test positive for coronavirus. That means that America has overall far more people that have coronavirus than Canada, of course, as a totality, because of our country's number or sheer number of citizens, which is much larger. But also, it means that we are not testing enough. We need to be testing at least 3 times more if we want to lower that number down to Canadian levels. Now, for those of you who are in the chat saying stuff like, well, Canada has way lower population density, my dude. Yeah, no shit, dog. But that's not how you deal with a fucking pandemic. You don't just say other countries are doing better because of the other factors. You try to solve the problem. That's like saying, well, you know, people are dying in America because 60% of our country is immunocompromised. If 60% of your fucking country is immunocompromised, then the majority of your country is immunocompromised, and you should probably factor that in to your pandemic response. Because whether you like to admit it or not, that's the fucking country. Okay? So that's what we are. We're a bunch of fat fucks with immunocompromise, with issues that make it much more, make this problem with coronavirus much larger. Okay? That's who we are. So we have to deal with it. We have to manage it in that way. All right?
You have attacked me and lied.
But we've come up with so many different tests. The only thing that we have now is some people have to wait longer than we'd like them to.
It's a big problem.
We want point to point. We want to have a 5-minute to a 15-minute test.
When do you think?
And like many others.
Every
and from
American.
what I understand, we're close to 50% where it's point-to-point test. We are making thousands of instruments, thousands of tests right now, tens of thousands that can be distributed to various parts of the country. But you have to understand, and we've even sent some of them to other countries where they had a big problem. Jonathan, almost 50%.
It's not fat shaming to say that America is very fucking fat, and that is a significant problem that needs to be factored in to our coronavirus response, you fucking leftist psychopaths. It's literally no different than the dumbass MAGA chuds who are like, oh, whatever, brother, I don't fucking care. Like, coronavirus isn't real, brother. You literally sound like them when you act like this is fucking fat shaming when it is literally empirical data that needs to be factored in to a pandemic response. That's just the reality. That's literally the reality. We're fucking fat. And that's something that we need to always consider when we are dealing with a health crisis. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying that we're fat and that's why, like, it's bad. It's actually not the fucking president's fault. It's our fault. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is something we need to consider. I'm not putting it on fucking fat people. I'm putting it on the government.
The spirit of justice. You love your father, the devil.
Okay? But to ignore the fact that we are literally immunocompromised and have a litany of other problems as a consequence of our unhealthy diets is insane.
You love your father, the devil.
Also, I just missed a bunch of subs. Sorry about that. Thank you, Tasty T96 for the 50. What the fuck? 50 gift subs. Holy shit. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going.
In fact, I think the number might be over, is immediate testing. The other's tough. You take a test, you have to send it to a laboratory. Let's say that takes a day. Let's say it's a day. It's difficult. You know, so it's 3 or 4 or 5 days. There's nothing you do about that.
But when do you think we will have
$100
I
donut?
think that you will have that relatively soon. I mean, again,
What does that mean?
You already have half.
Yeah.
I would much rather get back to you because I don't want to have you
That's
write
fine.
in 1 month.
That's
I
fine.
didn't make it. I missed it by a day.
I
And
get
it's
it.
a headline.
Mr. President, I want to talk about the federal intervention.
Excuse me, one thing I would say about
Yeah.
testing. Because we test so much, we show cases. So we show many, many cases. We show tremendous number of. I know you're smiling when I say that.
No,
but I'm
but come on. I
telling you.
mean, I've heard you say this,
Other
but
countries don't test like we do,
you know-
so they don't show cases.
just a couple of points on that.
Yes. Other countries don't test like we do. They test smarter. They do contact tracing, which is one effective method of lowering the number of tests that you need to do. For example, something that we haven't been able to establish in many of our states. Other countries don't test like we do, partially because they actually did have a first wave where they had a peak, and then they minimized the spread of coronavirus by issuing rigorous stay-at-home orders, mask wearing. We didn't fucking do that. We did that for like 3.5 days, and we're like, fuck this shit. And now we haven't even finished our first fucking stage. Our first wave of coronavirus has not ended. It's just doubled. Okay? Because that would be communism. The alternative would be fucking communism, literally. All right? We didn't do that, and that's why we have to test more. Sucks to suck, but it is what it is. You gotta fucking, just like in the words of Donald Trump, it is what it is. You just have to fucking do this now. The reason why we can't go back to fucking regular order of business, and I can't go back to the gym, and I'm inevitably gonna use the katana on myself. I can't fucking keep going back to the gym and get fatter and fatter every fucking day sitting on my ass all day long. Because we are not adult enough to fucking deal with goddamn, with the fucking
You don't love the spirit of
stupid
justice.
fucking pandemic
You
that everyone
love
else has
your
been able to
father,
deal
the
with.
devil.
Holy
Vietnam
shit!
tested over 200,000 people between January and April with less than 300 confirmed cases.
Anyway, you don't know what I'm going to do with the katana, so
Excuse me.
shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry. I'm out of
I didn't
control.
imply
I
anything.
apologize for that.
Hey Arjan, did you hear about this Bobby Schmurder may be released? Bog love you chatted me with HasanAbi.
You don't love the spirit of justice.
If we did
You
less
love your
testing, wouldn't that
father,
reflect in
the
the death
devil.
rate being higher, which would also make Trump look worse? He just doesn't get it. Is he grasping for something to make him sound better? Anyway. Yeah, I will be slicing watermelons with my katana if I don't fucking work out at all ever again. Freedom over ending coronavirus. Bet you supported the Patriot Act after 9/11. Hashtag commie pecker. Good debate, brother. Good one. Good bait.
I wasn't going to continue on the testing, but you said it. So we're testing so much because it's spread so far in America.
We're
And
testing
when
so
you-
much because we had the ability to test.
Okay,
Because we
but-
came up with
but
tests.
South Korea-
Jonathan, we didn't even have a test. When I took over, we didn't even have a test. Now, in all fairness,
why would you have a
there
test?
was no test.
The virus
for
didn't
this.
exist. How would you have a
Excuse me, I was
test?
going to say,
Okay.
there was no test for this new.
What is he saying? We didn't even have a test when I took over for a novel virus that didn't exist when you took over. What the fuck? Why is this our president, dude? Why is this the fucking president?
You don't love the spirit of justice. You love your father, the devil.
Insane.
We didn't have a test because there was no test.
course.
Republicans be like, guess what, libtard? We really didn't actually have a test, so owned. Facts, not feelings, brother. He's right. We didn't have a test when he took over. Oh, Bobby had no answer for coronavirus. Oh, he's just like a stupid person who's like a little bit marginally more intelligent than the average stupid person, yelling into an entire room of idiots, and they're all just like repeating everything he says.
In a very short order, we got one test, we got another test.
It was
we got
broken,
another.
the first
Many
one.
of those tests are now obsolete because we've, it's called science, and all of a sudden something's better. But because we tested so many people, 55, 60 million people very soon, we get cases. You test, some kid has even just a little runny nose, it's a case. And then you report many cases. So we look like we have more cases than massive countries like China, which, by the way, doesn't report, as you know.
Well, I don't put any stock in China's figures.
The point is, because we are so much better at testing than any other country in the world, we show more cases.
The figure I look at is death. And death is going up now.
Okay,
and it's 1,000 a day.
If you look at death...
Yeah, it's going
let's
up again.
Let's look.
Daily death.
Take a look at some of these charts.
I'd love to.
We're going to look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death...
Yeah. It's started to go up
Here's
again.
one. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than
We're
the
lower
world?
than
What is that?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
Much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
you can't do that. You have
Why
to go.
can't I do that?
You have to go by where. Look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why
are
not
death.
as a proportion of
When we
population?
have-
What? What? What do you mean you can't do that? What? He said you can't do that. My man said you can't do that. What the fuck? Yo, he's like, that's cheating. That's cheating. Why would you do that? That's cheating. Yo, this is the president, dude. Why would his fucking idiotic handlers let him do this? Just knock him on the head or something. Just be like, sorry, you fell asleep while watching Hannity again, Mr. President. You missed the Jonathan Swan interview. Oops. Like, literally do anything instead of let him go in front of the camera in an uninterrupted capacity like this for 37 minutes. It is literally the worst thing you can do. What the fuck? They just stuck him with a bunch of fucking charts like a little kid. And he's just like, he doesn't even know how to interpret the data. And he's just like, I can't remember the talking point. You look at the data. And he's like, no, I'm talking about deaths as a percentage of the population. He's like, no, you can't do that. What a fucking insane convo, dude.
Somebody, what it says is when you have somebody that has it, where there's a case, the people that live from those cases.
It's surely a relevant statistic to say if the US has X population and X percentage of death of that population versus South Korea.
No, because you have to go by the cases.
Well, look at South Korea, for example. 51 million population, 300 deaths. It's like, it's crazy compared to
that.
I do. It's on
you
the.
Don't know that.
You think they're faking their statistics, South Korea?
This is unhinged. This is the wait. I gotta run this back. He's rebooting. Look at him rebooting.
You don't know that.
Dude, imagine getting fucking owned by Jonathan Swan. Really? Like, he's a gigantic cucklord, dude. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh, this is like worse than Chris Wallace. How? Like, at least Chris Wallace is like has a little bit more integrity than fucking Jonathan Swan. I was wrong. I have to admit that I was wrong. All these people who sucked the administration's boots for 4 years, this was the payoff. I never realized that the payoff would be so swell. I never realized that the payoff would be, the climax would be worth it. Yeah, they were actually playing the long game, I think. Just sucking up to Donald Trump so they could get these fucking access, these easy access interviews, thinking, I guess, that he was going to have like a puff piece style interview, like a non-contentious interview or something. What the fuck?
I do. It's on
you
the.
Don't know that.
You think they're faking their statistics, South Korea?
I don't know. We're gonna run that again. We're gonna run that again.
Example, 51 million population. You think they're faking their statistics, South Korea?
I won't get into that because I have a very good relationship with them.
That's so good.
You have attacked
that's
me
our
and
fucking
lied.
president. Thank you, Moon Santa, for the 25 third gift subs. South Korea faking their numbers. I don't know. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yo, I swear to God, Republicans are going to start engaging in like liberal tactics where they start saying stuff like, dude, Hasan Piker, you are being ableist right now. Sweaty, that is a microaggression towards people who unfortunately have mental disabilities. You are being so fucking ableist currently. He just had a brain fart. That's fucked up.
The country, but you don't know that. And they have spikes. Look, here's
Germany
one.
low,
Here's
9,000.
Here's one right here. United States. You take the number of cases.
Okay.
Now look,
Not
we're
a
last.
good look,
Meaning we're first.
Sweaty.
I don't know
We
what
have
we're
the
first
best.
in. As a what?
Take a look.
Okay.
Again, it's cases.
Okay.
And we have cases because of the testing. Wait,
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases it's different.
no, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but
If you take a look at this other chart, look, this is our testing, I believe. This is the testing, yeah.
we do more tests.
No, wait a minute. Well, don't we get credit for that? And because we do more tests, we have more cases. In other words, we test more. We have. Now take a look. The top one, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Okay, why do we do tests? We do tests to figure out who has coronavirus. Why do we want to figure out who has coronavirus? Because the people that have coronavirus end up dying. So if ultimately we have a higher percentage of our population dying across the board than other countries, not adjusted to however many people have coronavirus, but adjusted to the entirety of the population in comparison to other countries, that means that ultimately we are doing worse than other countries, because the reason why we're engaging in all of these activities is so that we can, make sure that not as many people die. That's the ultimate fucking goal. All right? You can't analyze car crashes and not look at the deaths as a consequence of car crashes and exclusively look at how many cars were totaled in the process. I mean, American cars total a lot less in the process, but, you know, we have more deaths. That's not a fucking valuable statistic, dog. That's still fucked up, especially if your goal is to literally make sure that less people die.
The top, Jonathan.
If hospital rates were going down and deaths were going down, I'd say terrific. You deserve to be praised for testing, but they're all going up.
You know, they very rarely talk.
60,000 Americans are in hospital.
If you watch the
1,000
news
dying
or
a
read
day.
the papers, they usually talk about new cases, new cases, new cases.
I'm talking about death.
Well, you look at
It's going
death.
up.
Death is way down from where it was.
It's 1,000 a
Death.
day. It was 2,500. It went down to 500. Now it's going up again.
Excuse me, where it was is much higher than where it is right now.
The peak of it was literally 3,000 a day. We were having 9/11 a day. That's what it was at the peak. Okay? Just because we are not at the fucking peak does not mean that a third of a 9/11 a day right now, when other countries have completely gone beyond that number as a adjusted to their, of course, population, does not mean we're doing well overall. That's fucking insane.
Went down and it went up again.
But now it's going down again. It's going down in Arizona. It's going down in Florida.
Nationally,
It's going down in Texas. Take a look at this. These are the tests.
It's going down in Florida?
Yeah, it leveled out and it's going down. That's my report as of yesterday.
Anyway, Mr. President, if I could change subject.
It is going down in Arizona.
Arizona it is. Texas has big problems.
And it spiked and it's now going down in Florida. It's evened out and going down in Florida.
I'll have to see those figures.
But you have to look at this. This is the
me and lied.
This is a really cool conspiracy that I wasn't even aware of. Is this a thing that right-wingers are saying? When Dems were putting old people in nursing homes and sentencing them to death? Is that... If conservatives are this creative at like trying to shift responsibility away from Donald Trump for some weird reason, like he's not your dad, dude. You can admit that he's bad. Like I admit that Obama was bad all the time. Just fucking admit it and move on. I don't know why you have to like deflect the responsibility away from him when it's clearly on his hands and his administration. But like, if you could use that creative power for literally anything else, conservatives would make so much better content. Like, Hollywood wouldn't be run by fucking liberals, okay? Just use all of the fucking brain juices that you have to try to fucking deflect responsibility away from Donald Trump back to the Democrats somehow by making good content, engaging content. I swear to God, you would be more successful than libtard Hollywood if you did that.
The number of tests compared to
I don't
the rest
deny
of the
your
world.
figures. You've done more tests by far than the rest of the world. I don't
And
deny
because
that.
we've done more tests, we have more cases.
You have
can take
more
that back.
advantage.
Check it out. at
Mr.
your
President, different subject. It's been widely reported that the US has intelligence indicating that Russia paid bounties or offered to pay bounties to Taliban fighters to kill American soldiers. You had a phone call with Vladimir Putin on July 23rd. Did you bring up this issue?
No, that was a phone call to discuss other things. And frankly, that's an issue that many people said was fake news.
Who said
That
it was
a
fake news?
I think a lot of people, if you look at some of the wonderful folks from the Bush administration, some of them, not any friends of mine, were saying that it's a fake issue. But a lot of people said it's a fake issue.
There was dispute
we had
within the intelligence.
We had a call talking about nuclear proliferation, which is
Literally talking about Cuomo. What is it? Well, someone saying that Cuomo sent old people to nursing homes or some shit. Is that what happened? Cuomo did put COVID patients in nursing homes, spreading it to seniors. Okay, great. Fuck Cuomo. He's a piece of shit. I hate him. There you go. That was wrong. What about literally every other part of America that is fucked up gigantically? Was Cuomo sending Democratic elderly to fucking nursing homes in Arizona too? Like, what kind of fucking dumb take is this? Is that what they're doing in fucking Texas currently? The liberal governor of Texas? I just don't. Did Cuomo send dumbasses to the Tulsa rally? No. Here's the problem. Cuomo is like right wing as fuck regardless. But the issue is like, instead of understanding that there are serious fucking problems with the way that this country is governed, with the way that this country is run, you literally look to any fucking blame that you can to like Andrew Cuomo. Okay. What about the rest of the fucking country, man? Like, I don't understand. Aren't we all in this together? What the fuck are you talking about? Who's responsible for everything ultimately? It's Donald fucking Trump. Who's the Republican politician you agree most with? No one. I don't even agree with Democratic politicians. Why the fuck would I agree with a Republican one, dude? Come on.
It's a very big subject where they would like to do something and so would I. We discussed numerous things. We did not discuss that, no.
And you've never discussed it with him?
I have never discussed it with him, no. I would. I'd have no problem with it.
But you don't believe the intelligence. It's because you don't believe the intelligence. That's why.
Everything, it's interesting. Nobody ever brings up China. They always bring Russia, Russia, Russia. If we can do something with Russia in terms of nuclear proliferation, which is a very big problem, bigger problem than global warming, a much bigger problem than global warming in terms of the real world, that would be a great thing. But it never reached my desk. You know why? Because they didn't think it was intelligence. They didn't think it was real.
It was in your written brief, though, apparently.
They didn't think it was worthy of...
I love this because he says one of the best things I've ever heard him say in a brief moment. We already went over this portion of the interview earlier yesterday. So good. One, because it's just like insane how his mind works. And you know exactly how his mind works because there's zero filter. And when I say zero filter, I don't mean like Trump is a truth teller, like he's unfiltered. I mean literally he does not process what is coming out. Like words, it's like a word cloud. Donald Trump is literally like a word cloud machine. Okay? He's just like, smart. I am smart. I read books. Cognitive ability. I'm the best. Russia is good, but also bad. Who cares? Nuclear proliferation, big problem. Like, in the word cloud that he's just spitting out in any given moment, sometimes there's a grain of truth. Like when he says, nuclear proliferation is a gigantic problem. There's also some, misdirections there when he says stuff like, it's a bigger problem than global warming. I don't think so. It's like number one and number two, though. Number one and number two problems on the planet currently is nuclear armaments, nuclear proliferation, and climate change, right? So it isn't even wrong when he says that, except the things that he's done as a consequence of that have been really horrible. I mean, Russia is testing nuclear weapons. We are increasing our nuclear weapons productions. So really weird of Donald Trump to be like, oh, we're talking about that. We are talking about that. This is a conversation that we're having. I don't know why. I don't know why he's acting like he's trying to solve the problem when he's made it worse. Anyway, let's just keep going because he's going to say some really good shit in a second.
I wouldn't mind. If it reached my desk, I would have done something about it. It never reached my desk because...
Do you read your written brief?
I do. I read a lot.
Really?
I read a lot. They like to say I don't read. I read a lot.
Your daily intelligence brief?
I comprehend extraordinarily well. Probably...
That's my best. That's my favorite line. I comprehend extraordinarily well.
Better than anybody that you've interviewed in a long time.
What a fucking idiotic thing to say, dude. How does he come up with it? I really love it. I comprehend extraordinarily well. Better than anyone you've ever come up with. Anyone you've ever interviewed. Literally just says, I understand incredibly. I am the understander.
Thanks for all the
It's so
laughs
good.
and
All right, let's keep going. Sorry.
I read a lot. I spend a lot of time at meetings. Usually it's once a day or at least 2 or 3 times a week intelligence.
Because this was apparently
talking about India, talking about
right.
with the problems with China, talking about so many different elements of the world. Mm-hmm. The world is a very angry place. If you look all over the world, we call up, I see 22 soldiers were killed in India with China fighting over the border. It's been raging for many, many decades.
So here he is remembering certain key parts, like key details from like an interview that he, or from a briefing that he was a part of. And he's using that to be like, look at how many things I know. Like, look at how, like, it's literally, I've been in this situation. I've been in this situation when I was a kid and I didn't do the fucking reading and I had to go in front of the classroom and deliver a presentation on some shit that I totally could not fucking remember. Okay? And we've all been in this situation where you're like, I didn't really fucking read this well enough. I didn't do the writing. I didn't do the reading. I have no fucking clue what the hell's going on. I'm just going to pick certain parts that I do remember and I'm just going to blast them out into your face, just in the general vicinity of whatever the fuck we're reading or whatever the fuck I was supposed to read and like retell you. That's exactly what's happening here. He's just like, that's exactly what he's doing because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he's like, China, India, 22 people have died. I remember. I'm the rememberer of things. I'm the greatest understander.
And they've been fighting and back and forth. I have so many briefings on so many different countries, but this one didn't reach my desk.
The reason I say this is even if you don't believe this particular piece of intelligence, and there is dispute, no doubt, there is dispute in the intelligence community about it. Your former, John Nicholson, former head of forces in Afghanistan, said, and this is when he was working for you, that Russia is supplying weapons to the Taliban. Isn't that enough to challenge Putin over the killings of US soldiers?
Well, we supplied weapons when they were fighting Russia too. You know, when they were fighting with the Taliban in Afghanistan.
It's a different era.
Well, it's a different. I'm just saying, yes.
But does that? How does that affect?
I'm just saying we did that too.
But how does that?
I don't know. I didn't ask Nicholson about that. He was there for a long time. Didn't have great success.
That's based. When he turns around and goes, "We did that too. We did that too. We armed the Taliban. We did it too." And when push comes to shove, that unfiltered Trump ends up saying a truth that people normally are not supposed to say. Like, I constantly remember that interview that he did with Bill O'Reilly. I believe it was in 2016.
You love your father, the devil.
Where he said,
Love you,
we're
Hasan.
not so nice. Where he just straight the fuck up was like, we're not so nice either. Like, you think we're nice? You think we do nice things? You know what I'm talking about? When he was pushed on, yeah, we've got some killers too. We're a nation of killers too. Again, when he is pushed into a corner, he needs to fuck his way out of that corner. And the way he does that sometimes is by just going mask the fuck off. And admitting something that American administrations will never admit.
Because, you know, he was there before me, and then ultimately I made a change.
But you sure?
Putin. I do respect him. Do you? Why?
Here, this is it.
Well, I respect a lot of people, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get along with him. He's a leader of his country. I say it's better to get along with Russia than not. And if Russia helps us in the fight against ISIS, which is a major fight, and Islamic terrorism all over the world, right? Major fight, that's a good thing. Will I get along with him? I have no idea. It's very
He's a
possible
killer,
I
though.
won't.
Putin's a killer.
A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent?
That's what? I'm sorry. He gets to say that, of course, because he's a fucking Republican and they own patriotism. So when he says that it's okay, it's literally true. He's right. He gets to be able to say that because he's a Republican. If any Democrat went near that, oh my God, these annoying, smarmy little limp dick shitter Republicans would never let it go. If a Democrat said anything near that, like, think about how many people fucking constantly cry about what I said about 9/11. Like, literally constantly like whining like little bitch boy babies, like 9/11, you hurt my fucking fifis. Like, it's because Republicans are just as disgusting as those like liberals who won't let shit fucking go. Okay, they hate liberals. They say like, oh my god, liberals, cancel culture, blah blah blah. Like, Republicans are just as annoying, if not infinitely more fucking annoying, and infinitely better at manufacturing outrage than liberals are. Oh, you hurt my feelings. You hurt America's feelings when you said that. Like, shut the fuck up, you little bitch. Anyway, Trump is right there. But he gets to say it because he's a fucking patriot, right? Because he is an American patriot, because he's a Republican, and also because he's racist. And unfortunately, in America, if you're a racist and a Republican, that's kind of a substitute for patriotism. So you get to say whatever the fuck you want about American imperialism without people actually checking you too hard on it.
Surely heard that, right? I mean, it's well known in the intelligence community that they're arming the Taliban, Russia.
I don't know. When you say arming, is
Supplying
the Taliban
weapons.
paying, or they?
Russia is supplying weapons and money to the Taliban.
I have heard that, but it's never it's never reached my desk.
I mean, he said it on the record when he was in...
Hey, Russia doesn't want anything to do with Afghanistan. Let me just tell you about Russia. Russia used to be a thing called the Soviet Union. Because of Afghanistan, they went bankrupt. They became Russia, just so you do understand, okay? The last thing that Russia wants to do is get too much involved with Afghanistan. They tried that once. It didn't work out too well.
Last question on this subject.
And by the way, we're largely out of Afghanistan, as you probably know.
Well, wanted to ask you about that. The US troop level in Afghanistan right now is roughly the same as it was when
No, you're wrong. No.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. We have to do...
Okay, are you ready?
No,
We'll be down in a very short... It's already planned.
Well, that's a different
Let me
question.
explain. We'll be down in a very short period of time to 8,000. Then we're going to be down to 4,000. We're negotiating right now. We've been there for 19 years.
I know.
I can't wait for fucking Eric Prince to come in and just completely privatize our military operations down there, as he has been doing a press tour for the past fucking 4 goddamn years over. Eric Prince, who of course is related to Betsy DeVos, our education secretary. That is the future of American warfare. Metal Gear Solid was correct. Hideo Kojima is a fucking genius, and every single thing interpreted in the Metal Gear Solid series, specifically 4, is literally happening with the expansion of private military contractors, PMCs, and their involvement in global warfare. Let's keep going.
19 years.
But if you just let me finish my
We'll
question.
be getting out.
I understand. Look, when you came in, it was 8,800. You boosted to 14,000, and now you're back down to 8,500.
We're now...
My question to you...
We'll be at 4,000. I'll give
When?
you the exact... Very soon. Very soon.
What will be the number? Very soon? 4,000?
Very soon, yeah.
Like
very
how soon?
I don't want to tell you that. I don't want to tell you
It's big
that.
news.
What is that? That is
Going down to
big
4,000,
news.
isn't it?
No, I've always said...
Well, what about election day?
I'm sorry, but how is this journalism? Like what Jonathan Swan is doing. I get this is low key the only way you can get information out of this fucking dipshit. But it's so funny. He's like, come on, fucking tell me. All right, I won't tell anyone else. If you tell me, it'll just be between both of us. Come on, 4,000, 3,000. How many fucking people are gonna stay in Afghanistan, Mr. President? Come on, just tell me. I swear I'll be nice.
We will get largely out.
On election day, how many American troops will be in Afghanistan?
Probably anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000.
That's almost as many as when you came into office.
No, it's not.
8,000.
We had
came
much
in.
more. We had a lot of people over there, too.
8,800.
A lot of people. And we did a good job. We wiped out ISIS.
Have you
Let me just
thought
tell
about going down to
Let me
zero?
just tell you what you don't say. We took out in Syria, we took out ISIS. We 100% of the caliphate. When I took over Obama, it was totally rampant. ISIS was all over the place. We took them out. We captured them. We killed them. 100%, not 99%. I wanted to get out at 99.
Right.
Everyone said, oh, please, would you stay? I stayed. 99% was good, but 100% of the caliphate. We took out Soleimani. We took out...
Why are we talking about ISIS? The question is about Afghanistan. And now he's talking about ISIS And now he's talking about Iran with Soleimani. What the fuck is going on in this conversation? It's all the same. They're all brown. I don't understand what you mean. It's the same thing. These guys are all the same. Tomato, tomato, ISIS, Taliban, Caliphate. Who knows what any of these words mean? I'm the president, by the way. Ababe.
Al-Baghdadi. We took out people that nobody thought possible. Al-Baghdadi was the biggest terrorist of them all. They couldn't find him. I took him out. Soleimani, even bigger. I took him out. I've done things that no other president's done. Fortunately, not too many. They should have never been in the Middle East. The decision to go to the Middle East and get into the Middle East was the single biggest mistake made in the history of our country. That's my opinion.
You told Fox News recently that you...
Literally no one knew who the fuck Qasem Soleimani was. And then the next day, everyone was like, oh, this is the biggest terrorist on the planet. It is one of the greatest, like, nowhere near as bad, of course, as, like, the complete lie that the American press told the American people when we accelerated our efforts into Iraq. The lies told to justify the invasion of Iraq was absolutely worse than the lies told to justify the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. But it was still pretty fucking significant, especially considering that we have adversarial journalism in the time of Donald Trump and everyone in the media. Democracy dies in the darkness, and we all got to hold Trump accountable and speak truth to power. Meanwhile, everyone was like, yeah, Qasem Soleimani, totally, oh my God, literally the worst terrorist in the world. Oh, totally the worst terrorist in the world. It's like, bitch, you did not know who the fuck this person was. Okay? You did not know who the fuck this person was until he was assassinated. And now you're just going to go on TV and act like you were like, he was a terrorist. He wanted to kill American lives. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Are you kidding me, dude? You fucking joking, dude? Oh, yeah, I mean, this guy's big terrorist. Like, okay.
I love the system. I can now remove the tinfoil hat.
All right. He was a terrorist, though? No, the fuck he wasn't. He was a terrorist in the same sense that American leadership are terrorists, okay? You execute Soleimani, they can execute Donald Trump. That's how it fucking goes. Tit for tat, bitch. That is insane. He was a terrorist in the exact same fucking way that American leadership are terrorists. As a matter of fact, he was kind of a fucking loser in comparison to American terrorists, because the impact that he had on the Middle East was significant, of course. Did a lot with what he had, but nowhere near as significant as the death, destabilization, and destruction that American leadership has caused in the Middle East in comparison to fucking Iran. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, like I said, you can fucking call this out. You already debated a chud on Twitch over Soleimani. Tell the chuds to look it up. Yeah, I have an entire debate on this issue where I got the dude to admit this. Some right-wing dumbass that I talked to admit this, basically, on YouTube. You can fucking clip this and ship this wherever the fuck you want. I guess it's new information to you, but I've been talking about this for a very long time. Please don't get banned, dude, but you're right. I'm not going to get fucking banned over this. What the fuck? How is that the same LMAO? They're dictators. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Okay, we're not having this conversation again. Okay. The haters love that clip of America is worse.
You love your father, the devil.
America is like a more devastating force of terrorism on this planet than Iran ever could hope to be. Do you understand that? You can say LMAO, dictatorship, all you fucking want. All right? Does the Iranian leadership absolutely oppress its citizens? Of course they do. Are they homophobic? Of course they are. Do they fuck over peaceful protesters or non-peaceful protesters as well? Do they jail them and even some instances execute them? They do. Do you see the fucking parallels that I'm drawing here? That does not change the reality that we still kill more people overseas than they do. So shut the fuck up. And it's not just conservatives who feel this way. Liberals feel this way too. Because of what I just mentioned. Because when Qasem Soleimani gets executed, gets assassinated, then you have even liberal outlets justifying it. Because American exceptionalism, okay, is a brain cancer that is far more pervasive than any other kind of brain cancer that Americans have. American exceptionalism is a brain cancer that is perpetrated from every fucking media outlet, regardless of their ideological position, supposedly, because it's inside the confines of acceptability for every outlet. Everyone operates from American exceptionalism as a point of view. The irony here, of course, is that the reason Iran is in the unstable condition that it's in currently is directly a consequence of American imperialist endeavors in Iran. But we're not going to get into the history of that right now. Just Google Iranian coup, British petroleum, and maybe you'll start to fucking understand. Even Cenk justified it. Cenk justified what? The execution of Qasem Soleimani? Yeah, he fucking sucks when it comes to this sort of shit. You are for HasanAbi's law? It's not exactly a 1 = 1? What the fuck? Anyway,
you couldn't say whether you'd accept the results of the 2020 election. What does that actually look like as the sitting president? I mean, it's unprecedented. What would that actually look
Hillary
like?
Clinton never accepted him.
She conceded on. She conceded
still
on.
doesn't accept him, and she got
That's the
beaten
important
very
point.
easily.
That's the important point. She conceded on election night. Now she grumbled about it and said all sorts of
grumbled. She
Okay,
wrote books
fine.
about it.
She wrote books.
Don't use the word grumbled.
Fine, but
she wrote books about it.
That's fine, but I'm
And
just.
she got beaten
I
easily.
get it. I get it.
306 to 223.
I'm
That's a
not
lot.
disputing you beat Hillary Clinton.
That's a lot.
Listen, what I'm asking is you'll be the sitting president in the White House. What does that look like? Not
I'll
accepting.
tell you what it looks like.
Are you litigating?
Let me tell you what it looks like.
Okay.
So we have a new phenomena. It's called mail-in voting, where you send where a governor.
It's been here since the Civil War.
In terms of the kind of millions and millions of ballots, they've never.
It'll
done
be
like
bigger this year because of the pandemic.
Bigger, not bigger, massively bigger.
Yeah, because of the
So they're
pandemic.
going to send tens of millions of ballots to California, all over the place. Who's going to get them? I have a friend lives in Westchester County.
They send applications, not that.
His son passed away. He had a beautiful, wonderful son, young man, passed away 7 years ago. He called me. He said, "I just got a ballot
Probably
for
an
my
application.
son Robert.
Probably
he died 7 years ago. Somebody got a ballot for a dog. Somebody got a ballot for something else. You got millions of ballots going. Nobody even knows where they're going. You look at some of the corruption having to do with universal mail-in voting. Absentee voting is okay. You have to apply. You have to go through a process.
You have to apply for mail-in.
Absentee
It's the
voting
same
is
thing.
good. Look,
Let's do concrete. Let's do concrete.
Jonathan, they're sending out
Applications.
governors
Download them off the-
millions of ballots.
No, they're not.
There
It's
is-
applications. You can get them
There
off the
is
internet.
no way you can go through a mail-in vote without massive cheating.
I honestly don't understand this topic with
Go
you.
ahead.
The Republican Party has an extremely well-funded vote-by-mail program. Your campaign puts out emails telling people to vote by mail.
Correct.
Your daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, she did robocalls in California saying it's safe and secure, mail-in voting.
Let me tell you.
The Republican
we have
won.
no choice.
That was an all-mail-in race.
Let me tell you. You ready?
Yeah.
We have no choice because right now we have. But
I love that. One, I love that Trump is like, oh my God, my friend's son died and he got a mail-in ballot. Okay, is your friend gonna fucking illegally vote for you? Because that would be fucking illegal. I'm just saying, like, dead people get fucking mail all the time. Your administration delivered $1.5 billion to dead people as a form of coronavirus relief packages. $1.5 billion were sent to dead people. They got stimulus money. Okay? That's the truth. This happens. The government is big business. Okay? When you're engaging in that kind of widespread relief, you are going to have problems. They're going to be big problems. The point isn't to completely fucking destroy the process and act like, well, what are we going to do? We have to just fucking not have mail-in ballots, abolish it in its entirety. The point is to solve those problems. Okay? That's what you do. I am doing a research project for school. Could you spit in my mouth? No. Yes, you have to, of course, sign mail-in ballots. It's illegal. And if there are significant problems with the outcomes, you can do a recount. You can look through the individual ballots. If you fucking rig the election in this widespread capacity, people would go to jail. It is literally illegal. People are not voting once legally when they have the right to do so in this country. And we're acting like people are going to go around and in not just the thousands, but in the hundreds of thousands, go around and double vote? What are they going to do? Kill their relatives and start voting for their relatives?
You don't want to kill Mexican babies?
How is this going to be accomplished?
Okay. Well, China is beating their citizen to death for wanting freedom out in Hong Kong, waving the American flag, believing in American values. America does have some problems, however you can't blame everything on Trump, and burn down city doesn't help.
What? Solo Vince Gaming Nation. China's beating their citizens to death for wanting freedom out in Hong Kong. Do you know what fucking country you're telegraphing this fucking $5 dono to, idiot? What the fuck are you talking about? America's literally doing the exact same shit that China's doing to Hong Kong in our cities currently. One of my fucking friends, literally in a newly leaked Department of Homeland Security memo, was considered an international anti-fascist terrorist. The fuck? Okay, not good friend, or not really friend, but friend of the show.
Have you covered the George Floyd body cam footage?
And you're out here talking about oh, this is happening in fucking Hong Kong, China, Hong Kong. Okay, if you're mad at that, you should be fucking infinitely more mad that it's happening here in America to your fellow citizens. What the fuck?
We have many court cases that we're waiting. We have one filed in Western Pennsylvania. We have many court cases where we're trying to end it. We went through World War I, you went to the polls, you voted. We went through World War II, you went to the polls, you voted.
You've had mail-in voting since the Civil War.
And now because of the China virus, we're supposed to...
Sorry, but this is the last ditch effort of a fucking Republican brainlet. Where it's you're an absolute liar. You're lying. No, dude, I'm not lying. Everyone else has been fucking lying to you because you've been watching Fox News and listening to your dumbass parents all day. So the first time someone's here's what's actually fucking going on, you're you sound like Donald Trump trying to respond to Jonathan fucking Swan, who is already a fucking conservative. Holy shit. Literally doing an interview with a conservative outlet. Axios is a conservative outlet. You sound like Donald Trump going, when your brain is not able to process this shit because you're it just doesn't correspond to my worldview, so you must be lying.
Stay home, send millions of ballots all over the country, millions and millions. You could have a case where this election won't be decided on the evening of November 3rd.
Absolutely.
This election could be decided 2 months later.
It won't be 2 months, but what's wrong with the proper mailing count?
It could be decided many months later.
Have you discussed...
You know why? Because lots of things will happen during that period of time, especially when you have tight margins. Lots of things can happen. There's never been anything like this when you try... Now, of course, right now, we have to live with it, but we're challenging it in many courts,
You're going to litigate
all over the country.
Mr. President, the other day, a reporter asked you about Galen Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Mr. President, Galen Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
I don't know that, but I do know that...
She has. She's been arrested for that.
Her friend or boyfriend...
Epstein.
...was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that?
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed?
I'm out of control.
And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
she's a
made it
child
such
alleged child sex
a
trafficking.
big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
Let's move to Portland.
What? What? Why did he say that? Why did he say any of those things that he just said? Oh, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude. Why is the president saying these things?
You don't love the spirit of justice. You love your father.
What? I'm gonna turn into a fucking QAnon person, but like in a weird, only exclusive to Jeffrey Epstein way. Why is he saying these things? Why isn't he just saying, I misspoke? He's like, oh, her boyfriend died. Like, what the fuck? Bro, it's Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. What the fuck? I gotta run that back. I'm sorry.
Mr. President, Galen Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a
First
person
of all,
well?
I don't know that, but I do know that
She has. She's been arrested for that.
her friend or boyfriend
Epstein.
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that?
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
she's
made
a child
it
alleged child sex
such a
trafficking.
big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died.
That part is insane. Why is he saying such a big deal? Like, did he just say, did like the timing just like not match up on that? Like, why did he say that? What does it all mean? What does it all mean? Why is he giving us, in the words of QAnon, breadcrumbs? Okay? While also simultaneously saying, like, I wish her well, her boyfriend died. Like, he's, on the one hand, casting doubt on whether Jeffrey Epstein was killed or committed suicide, which is very tight, because I agree. But also simultaneously saying, her boyfriend died. Dude. Like, that's like not the same moral evil, like level of evilness, but like that's kind of like saying, I don't want to talk about it right now. Like Adolf, he was going through a lot. And honestly, right now we should be talking about suicide awareness. It's really fucked up that you're talking about anything else that Adolf did. We should be talking about a painter and a life lost to suicide. Here's the suicide hotline. Like, you talk about fucking burying the lead. Like, you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and his girlfriend is also a person who was engaged in the sex trafficking alongside Jeffrey Epstein. What the fuck? Very interesting way to talk about this issue.
He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
Let's move to Portland. I'm sure you've seen the disturbing footage of people in fatigues beating the Navy veteran.
No.
Well,
here you
it's
go.
there.
The fake news.
It's not fake news. It's on video.
For
pepper spraying him.
59 days, these people.
It's fake news because he's not a real veteran. No one is a real veteran if they're also Antifa. If you are an anti-fascist, that means you're automatically not a real veteran. Okay? Real veterans are, I don't know, veterans of the culture war on the internet, for example. You don't really need to serve in the military to be a veteran. You just need to love the military. Okay? That's kind of it.
People were anarchists and agitators and some protesters, but these were anarchists.
Okay.
These people were beating the hell out of the city. They were beating up our federal buildings and our federal courthouse. We told the police to stop it. You make sure. And the police wouldn't do it. Not the police.
Your own Justice Department and Homeland Security Inspector Generals.
Excuse me.
But your Inspector Generals are
Excuse
investigating
me.
unconstitutional.
You're trying now to blame law enforcement instead of anarchists.
I'm
instead
not.
of Antifa.
I'm not.
It's Antifa and anarchists that are causing the problems, not law enforcement. Our law enforcement, if we didn't have people at our courthouse, and they're strong, tough people, and they don't want, they try and be very good, believe me. But if we didn't have people there, you would have your federal courthouse, $600 million building. You would have that thing burned to the ground.
I'm asking you about tactics and about the unmarked vans where they're rounding people up. And I want to.
Jonathan, why are you not considering the federal building? Also, so the Portland, so the federales pulled out of Portland. Is the courthouse burned down to the ground, I guess, now that they're gone? I assume the federal courthouse is now rubble, right? It's reduced to rubble. Because they were the line of defense between the fucking Karen Mom Brigade and the military veterans that are like 80 years old. They were the line of defense between those guys and a massive block-spanning concrete fucking building. So what happened to the federal building when the federal agents left? Is it on fire all the time now? What's up? Isn't it strange how we never talk about what happens when cops actually de-escalate by completely leaving? Isn't that so weird that all of a sudden it's no longer a talking point? Because they made it seem like if they weren't there, these buildings were going to be on fire. They were going to explode.
Love your father, the devil.
So where's it at? Why is it not exploded yet? It's flat. You moron. Go check Google Maps. It's flat now. True. Jonathan. So that's why this is what Donald Trump sounds like. Jonathan, the concrete building. We need to protect it.
Let me tell you
Can I just finish my question?
Well, let me tell you about
Could I just finish my question? Because it relates to this, I promise. This is from Rand Paul. Quote, "We cannot give up liberty for security. Local law enforcement can and should be handling these situations in our cities, but there is no place for federal troops or unidentified federal agents rounding people up at will." What is your response to Senator Paul?
First of all, these are Homeland Security people. They're securing a courthouse.
They're Border Patrol.
They're Homeland Security.
Elite units.
Border. Hopefully they have
Camo,
ICE in there.
gas
Hopefully they have
masks.
ICE. Now, do you know why they're unmarked? Because
Why?
these terrorists, these Antifa people, these people that are anarchists and agitators, when they see the name on a uniform of a person, a policeman or law enforcement person, they find out where that person lives. And then they go and they scare the hell out of the person's family. And so they do it for that reason. It's just common sense. There's nothing secret about this. And you know it. You see it, what's going on right now. We have Chad Wolf. They have people. He's doing a fantastic job. He's the acting head. He's doing a fantastic job.
Dude, imagine being afraid of a bunch of fucking crusty anarchists, dude. You're the literal president of the... You are the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military force on the planet. And you're sitting here crying about a bunch of fucking pasty vegans, dude, who literally just want you to leave them alone. That's it. They just want you to minimize the amount of harm you're causing. Like, it's not like these are people who are trying to violently, I don't know, take down the American government or anything like that. No matter how fucking scary you try to make them seem, they're literally like fair trade, organic, mustache wearing bicycle salesmen that, you know, make their own fucking Kopi Luwak coffee in the mornings and read. No, they don't read theory. They're anarchists. But you know what I mean. They're just like a bunch of fucking vegan soy boys that just want you to minimize harm. Okay? That's it. Like, they are not these scary fucking, the scary military force that you're trying to make it out to be like. Insane. Insane. It's so sad.
Chad Wolf has pickets out, very dangerous looking people outside of his house. He's going to be just fine. He's tough and he's got people. But if you have the names on all of these uniforms, you'll have these maniacs in front of their houses scaring their family and their wives and or husbands, whatever it may be. I think it's a very good reason not to have your name. Why should you have identification? My name is Bill Smith, and here's where I live, and I'm a member of...
The really serious concern is
No,
the
that's
reports.
not
about that.
serious
The serious
concern.
concern is the reports of people being rounded up and not being told why they're being detained. That's what's being investigated
Why?
by Mr. President. The
Why they're
inspectors
being
generals.
detained?
The inspectors
You know
generals.
why? You know why they're being detained? Well, yeah.
There's an
I mean-
investigation. Do you support that investigation?
Well, I haven't seen the result yet.
But do you
Let me see
support the
result.
initiative of it?
No, I think that actually
You don't?
I think Antifa should be investigated, not the law enforcement. They're investigating.
They shouldn't be investigating.
Have you been watching television?
I have.
Have you been seeing the
Saying anti-fascists need to be investigated for, like, what, doing anti-fascism when they have led to 0 deaths in the past 25 years, whereas white supremacists are just expressing a difference in their opinion, when white supremacists in the past 25 years have led to 325 deaths, is fucking insane. Okay? Anarchists have the worst KDA. Do you understand? They have literally the worst fucking KD. They are worse than me at Call of Duty. Somehow they have a negative KDA. It's fucking insane to like spend any number of DHS resources on crusty fucking anarchists is one of the most psychotic things that any administration could ever do. But they're of course going to do that because they need to portray the left as an enemy because this is a fucking fascist government. Holy shit.
the violence? And
Sure.
Now, if you watch NBC News, like I watch NBC fake news,
What does the A stand for in KDA? Assists. Kill,
I'm
death,
watching
assists.
Lester Holt, real beauty.
It no longer has A though. I think they just like they only do KD now.
And I'm watching this NBC News sham, and you have a mayor named Wheeler. And he's standing out there, and he's being accosted by the people. You know that. It's horrible what they're doing to him. Portland, the mayor of Portland. And he thought he'd go out, he'd be what they were doing and saying and everything else to him, I happened to watch it on a different station. He had to get out. He had 5 security guards. He got out with his life. Okay.
Mr. President.
If you watch NBC News, they make him like he's standing.
It can also
You
be
don't
kill
love
death
the spirit
average
of
too,
justice.
but
You
it's
love
you.
your
It's
father's
no
devil.
KDA would also mean kill death and assists in games where they show assists. You are fucking wrong. Do not fucking. Oh my god. Do not start with this. This is the moment where Chad is like, oh no, I got one on Hasan. I know more because it's a fucking video game. When you don't, and then we're gonna go down this fucking rabbit hole, and I'm gonna pull enough information to show you that I'm right. But you will have left the chat by that point, and I'll still be angry when I go to sleep later at night because I was right again, and a bunch of fucking morons in the chat were like question marking me, and then made me feel like I was wrong when I was fucking literally right again.
They're bravely fighting with the people in a positive sense that everything is wonderful. No, he went out there. He's lucky he got away with his life because they would have killed him. He had 5 guards, but NBC News showed it like he's standing with the people for justice. Look, those people,
What?
they were doing a NBC News sham, and you have a mayor named Wheeler.
Again, literal cop. Ted Wheeler is not a good person. Ted Wheeler is the police commissioner. Okay? People of Portland, the actual fucking protesters and activists in Portland hate Ted Wheeler. Okay? They hate him. It is very weird that the media is making it seem like Ted Wheeler is actually on the side of the fucking protesters when his own police force is literally doing the brutalization for the first 45 days of the occupation before the federal agents also joined in on the fun. it's so fucking weird that now both the media and Donald Trump are like, Ted Wheeler, like he's so brave. Or Donald Trump here is saying like Ted Wheeler's a radical leftist or whatever the fuck. When ask any of the activists in fucking Portland, they will tell you, fuck Ted Wheeler twice. He is also a problem. His own Portland Police Department beat the fucking shit out of the protesters before the fucking federal agents came in. And now that the federal agents have left, his own police department are also fucking beating the shit out of the protesters again, now that the federal agents have left Portland.
And he's standing out there and he's being accosted by the people. You know that. I mean, it's horrible what they're doing to him. Portland, the mayor of Portland. And he thought he'd go out, he'd be what they were doing and saying and everything else to him. I happened to watch it on a different station. He had to get out. He had 5 security guards. He got out with his life. Okay.
Mr. President.
If you watch NBC News, they make him like he's standing there bravely fighting with the people in a positive sense, that everything is wonderful. No. He went out there. He's lucky he got away with his life because they would have killed him. He had 5 guards, but NBC News showed it like he's standing with the people for justice. Look, those people, take a look at what they've done to the courthouse. Take a look at what they've done to the streets. Take a look at the violence.
It's getting worse since they've gone in. It's getting worse.
It's getting better. We had a very good, we've arrested a lot.
Literally getting worse, dude. Literally has gotten worse every day. More people have showed up. Because when you beat the shit out of someone, you radicalize 5 of their fucking friends, okay? That's how it works. That's what the American government is doing over and over again, and especially what they did in Portland, an area that was already ripe for radicalization, okay? You start knocking on heads because they fucking graffitied a courthouse, more people are going to show up. You start tear gassing them, more people are going to fucking show up. And I said this back then, and I will repeat it. There's only 2 options out of this. Either you escalate violence to a point where you start killing protesters, like literally killing them or like locking them in jail indefinitely, or there is a non-violent alternative, which is scale back, de-escalate, and fucking listen to your fellow citizens. Make concessions. That's what administrations are supposed to fucking do. That's what you're supposed to do when you are in a position of power and these people have voted you in.
A lot of people, and we now have a 10-year rule. You try and knock down our courthouse.
More businesses damaged, more violence.
You touch our courthouse, you go to jail for 10 years.
Turning to the rest of the country. We haven't seen.
Look, you touch our courthouse, you're going to jail for 10 years. You're such a bitch, dude. What a pathetic little fucking bitch. Stop siding with Antifa terrorists. Okay, now that I have attention, I'd like to say that your streams have helped me become more woke, and now next year I'm going to take law and political studies grade 11 because I want to be a lawyer and keep innocent people out of the corrupt prison system. Sorry for spamming this. It's okay, Charles Music. I fucking hate that shit. Now you guys always get me with this.
In protests like this since the 60s. I mean, we're seeing...
These are Democrat
if I can finish my question.
Cities,
if I can finish my question.
And they're doing it for political reasons.
You said you've done so much for African Americans.
I have.
But there are Americans...
Justice I understand. Reform, opportunity.
But let me finish.
I'm not a CIA agent, so you confirm this is how communist recruiting works. I'll jot that down. Dude, this is not even funny, dude. Like, don't meme about this, okay? I don't want to go to jail, please.
There are Americans out in the streets asking for change. Mr. President, have you ever met with a Black Lives Matter activist to hear them out, hear their arguments?
No,
well, Black Lives Matter started off, to me, very badly because it was...
Did you ever meet with one?
Pigs in a blanket, burn them like bacon. That was the first time I ever heard of Black... That was 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Pigs, meaning...
What? Dude, he's doing the memes, dude. He's doing the fucking email listing memes, dude. Somewhere out there in America, black people said pigs in a blanket, wrap them like bacon. Therefore, the entire grassroots organized movement of Black Lives Matter and all of their demands are now completely false. Again, literal baby shit. If you operate this way, you have a baby brain. And if you have a baby brain, you shouldn't be the fucking president. Okay?
Pigs is what they're referring to, in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I thought it was, so I got off to a bad start. I got off to a very bad start.
Would you meet with a Black Lives Matter activist?
I would.
I heard a meme, and that made my fifis hurt. Here, let me use terms that Republicans understand. I saw a meme, and that made my feelings hurt. So now I'm not going to listen to black people and the demands that they make. I'm not happy. Ooh, don't call the cops pigs. Don't do that. No. No. Why are you calling the cops pigs? No. They can kill 1,000 people a year. No. Why are you not letting them kill 1,000 people a year? Stop it. They need military gear. Why do you not talk about their feelings? Huh? Why do you not talk about their feelings? Like that officer in Arizona who killed Daniel Shaver, who now gets to collect $2,000 a month from the federal government for PTSD because he executed Daniel Shaver in cold blood. What about his feelings? That's what you sound like.
But I think right now when they paint the sign, nobody's asked for a meeting, right? Nobody's ever asked me for a meeting. Let me tell you, with African Americans, I'm doing very well. They had the best employment numbers they've ever had. They had the best job numbers they've ever had. They were making more money than they ever made. We were all set until we got hit by China with the virus. Jonathan, we were becoming a very unified country.
Do you believe
because of success?
I understand. Do you believe, though, Mr. President, that many police treat black people differently from white people?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. Certainly
there you go. Not racist. Folks, this guy, interview champion, undeniable. Can't deny it. Best interview. I hope not, he says.
In the statistics.
The knee on the neck was a disgrace, okay?
Yeah.
It was a disgrace.
I'm talking about, what does systemic racism mean to you?
I hope the answer to that question is no. Does anybody really answer that question accurately?
But what about not hope? What about analysis? What's your cold-hearted
I have seen where there is a difference, and I don't want there to be a difference. I don't like that there would be a difference. But with that being said,
why do you think black men are 2.5 times?
White people.
I know, but why do you think black men
in a larger number
in quantity
police have killed white people?
But why do you think black men are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by police than white men?
That I don't know, but I don't like it.
But you must have thought about it.
Why? I don't know why, but I don't like it. I do know this.
Wait, Mr. President, I thought you said earlier today in this very interview that you were the greatest comprehender. This is why I'm asking you right now, Mr. President, that black people are dying in the hands of the police at 2.5 times higher rates than white people. I'm asking you why, Mr. President. You are the greatest comprehender. Please, Mr. President, is the greatest comprehender. Give me an answer to this question.
Speak to something
police
systemic.
Have killed many white people also.
But proportionally, what does it speak to?
It speaks to something, if that's the number, you're telling me a number. Okay, if that's the number, it speaks to something that to me is unacceptable.
And what do you do about it then?
Well, I think we've already done a lot of
But you
things.
haven't, it still exists.
Let me just tell you.
No, I understand your achievements. I know what you're going to say. I'm not suggesting you haven't done a lot
I've done
economically.
a thing called criminal justice
I get it.
reform.
Those black people being arrested because they have no control over emotion.
You're gonna
and
love that
destroy
homeless white man
buildings.
donating plasma for money and getting harassed by the police, really showing white supremacy, especially those black people being arrested because they have no control over emotion and destroying buildings. 10-10. Hey, dumbass. Daniel Shaver was a white guy that got fucking executed by a police officer in Arizona. I specifically mentioned that because I know there's fucking Republican idiots in my chat who are literally just white supremacists, just straight up. You might not recognize that you are a white supremacist, but you 100% are a white supremacist because you literally create the dichotomy between black and white people and act like
You don't love the spirit
policing
of
in America does not
You
harm
love your
white people as
father's
well.
devil.
3 months,
The example I
let's go.
gave you
Keep it
that
up,
you don't give a
Hasan, I
fuck
love
about
you.
because you're
Hasan.
completely not knowledgeable about any of these issues was a white person. Okay? That was a white person that was executed in the hands of the police. More white people die in the hands of the police than black people do because there are more white people in this country than black people. Okay? You stupid fuck. I understand that reality. White people get harassed by police as well. Poor white people specifically. Policing in this country harms black people and white people, but black people disproportionately get harmed by the police because the police is a white supremacist institution on top of being a classist one. But thank you. Please keep giving me your stupid fucking racist ass dollars. All right? Who does the police help? Business owners. Who does the police help? The wealthy. Okay?
I'm just saying what
That your
changes.
friend, President Obama couldn't
It's
get
not my
done.
friend.
He
I'm
tried,
asking about that
he
statistic.
tried, but he couldn't get it
I'm
done.
not-
I got criminal
I get
justice.
it. I get it.
I got opportunity zones. I took care of the historically black. You know, if you look at what I've done for colleges, for black colleges and universities, I got them funding. Obama never did it. I did more for the black community than anybody, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln, whether you like it or not. People say, "Oh, that's
You believe you did more than Lyndon Johnson, who passed the Civil
I
Rights
think I
Act?
did, yeah.
How?
Because I
How
got criminal
possibly did you
justice
do?
reform done. I got prison reform.
Lyndon Johnson.
I've done things. Well,
He passed the Civil Rights
ask,
Act.
how has it worked out? If you take a look at what Lyndon Johnson did,
You think the Civil Rights Act was a
How has it
mistake?
worked out? Because frankly, it took a long time.
Listen, black people don't even like the vote. They don't even like it. They don't like the voting. How did it work out for them? Huh? Black people tell me all the time, we don't like the vote, Mr. President. We don't like it.
The devil.
Thank you. Thank you for the Republican Party taking that away from us. Thank you. There we go. I fixed it.
But for African Americans,
But you
under
think that was a
my
mistake?
administration, Jonathan, under my administration, African Americans were doing better than they had ever done in the history of this country. So I did a lot. Job numbers, all of the money. They had money. They were getting great. Their percentage was up. Their housing ownership was up. They did better than they've ever done
I just don't
until
know
we
how
got
you
hit.
can-
And now, you know what we're doing? I'm building it up again. We're going to have it. Next year will
This
be
is
a
why
great
you hate
year,
white-
unless it's screwed
Stop
up by
hating
somebody
me.
that doesn't know what he's doing, which could happen, but I don't think it will.
John Lewis is lying in state in the U.S. Capitol. How do you think history will remember John Lewis?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know John Lewis. He chose not to come to my inauguration. He chose. I never met John Lewis. Actually, I don't believe.
Do you find him impressive?
I can't say one way or the other. I find a lot of people impressive. I find many people not impressive. But no. But I didn't go.
Do you find his story impressive?
He didn't come to my inauguration. He didn't come to my State of the Union speeches, and that's okay. That's his right. And again, nobody has done more
Right.
for
But back
Black
to-
Americans than I have.
Dude, right after he just shit on John Lewis. Oh, god damn, dude. He is so American. Like, it's fucking awesome, dude. It is like he is so petty.
You
He
don't love the spirit of
embodies
justice. You love
every
your father, the
fucking
devil.
weakness that Americans have. Like, he embodies all of our worst qualities. I'm watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood right now, so this is a reference from that, but it's the 7 deadly sins, right? Just all in one body. He is the homunculized final fucking form, where they're all just like in one fucking body. He is the father. Yeah, who a megalol John Lewis, and then followed up by saying, like, I've done so much more than anyone else. Okay, by the way, 7 Deadly Sins obviously was not invented by Full Metal Alchemist, but that's why it's in my mind. It's so funny, though. It's so funny that, like, he can't help himself. That's why he's so likable. That's why so many people love him. Because he's so fucking relatable to a solid 30% of the population who are exactly like him. As petty, as salty, as jealous of, like, you know, the liberal elite and the circles that they get to hang out in, the hoity-toity crowd. Like, they, as entitled, as disgusting, as fucking ignorant, constantly reminiscing about how, you know, they had their victories in high school when they were the fucking state champion or whatever the fuck people do in high school. Like, he is the perfect American. Okay? That's why he's so likable. Because every fucking dipshit that never left, like left the high school mentality, you know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about, from your Facebook, that you never check anymore because they're constantly promoting QAnon conspiracies on there. Trump is that person. He behaves like that person. He embodies all the worst qualities of those people. He's just completely oblivious to the reality, and that's why they like him. He is exactly like, it's like a mirror. He just shines a mirror back at them.
I understand.
He should have come.
But
I think he made a big mistake.
But taking your relationship with him out of it, do you find his story impressive, what he's done for this country?
He was a person that devoted a lot of energy and a lot of heart to civil rights, but there were many others also.
There's a petition to rename the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama as the John Lewis Bridge. Would you support that idea?
I would have no objection to it if they'd like to do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Would have no objection to it whatsoever.
Okay. Mr. President, you've been so generous with you.
He's not like, and that's where you fucking lose it. He doesn't hate John Lewis enough. He just doesn't like John Lewis because John Lewis didn't come to his inauguration. He's not like ideologically a white supremacist. He is like white supremacist in the way that every racist American is a white supremacist. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to be like, oh no, a black person cannot be named after a monument. Like, he's not dedicated to the cause of white supremacy in the same way that like a fucking neo-Nazi is. You know what I mean? He's just a fucking petty, narcissistic man-child who is insanely angry at the fact that John Lewis did not come to his inauguration. You're inventing this narrative? You've inventing this narrative? Wait, what? A monument? Sorry, I meant a bridge. I don't know why I said monument. What is the narrative I invented? Wait, do you think I invented the narrative that Donald Trump is a narcissist?
You don't want to kill Mexican babies? You're a racist!
This is for chat. All rich men and women have real estate backing their business. They house hackers started selling their properties every 27.5 year or 385 or more units with an IRS Form 1031 exchange, and if done properly can claim zero tax score PLL.
You said you can't name a black person after a monument instead, and chat's crying about it. Oh, I meant Trump is not like an ideologically consistent white supremacist in the way that he would be upset if you named like something after a black person. Because there are truly people like that. There are definitely neo-Nazis and shit like that. But that's not where Trump is at. Trump is more so just like insanely fucking narcissistic, insanely petty, and is angry that John Lewis embarrassed him in his mind.
Your time, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Great honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
This is so good. This was so good. Listen, on that note, we're ending it tonight. Wow, dude. Wow, what a fucking insane interview, dude. Holy shit, that's our president. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, boys and girls, NBs, that's our goddamn president, dude. Just think about that, okay? I'm going to sleep. I'm sure we'll be thinking about that. Just kidding. I won't be thinking about that much further. I will probably watch some Full Metal Alchemist. You know, jerk off, have fun. Sorry for the only 11 hour and 30 minute stream, but I'm tired. And tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of fun. There's so much cool shit